Hi guys, welcome to our next episode of Roundtable Podracers, Mando Talk, Chapter 12, The Siege.
Woo! Woo!
And yes, we are wearing the same clothes from last episode, but
Time
it's
travel.
okay.
You know, when
Hey,
you're hunting
Bo-Katan,
around the
can
galaxy,
you-
you don't have that many clothes to change in and out of. So
Yeah. Look, if Bo-Katan can look younger, we can be wearing the same clothes. So.
exactly.
So as always, I have Julie and Alexis.
Hello.
with me, and
Hello
we'll be talking about Chapter 12 of the Siege of the Mandalorian. So this is your spoiler warning.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Yep. So let's get started. I'll leave it up to you, Alexis, because you do an awesome job kind
You
of guiding
really
us,
do.
and I get too excited and I'm like all over the place as always. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Take
that,
it.
Anna.
Mhm.
So the Razor Crest is still banged up
Yep.
after paying 1,000 credits to the Mon Calamari for just getting it barely space worthy. We have.
Let me tell you that I feel like you guys know I'm very into cars. So I feel the Racer Crest is like the Honda Civics in the space world. And it's like I've driven like 94 Civics and like they're disaster, but they're still working. So I'm saying the Racer Crest is like the Civic of the space world. Yeah.
I'm back. I think I'm back. I think I got.
You froze for
okay.
a second.
Cool. So I'm back. All right. So the Razor Crest. So so we have the Mando, floating through space and having the child as the mechanic's assistant, if you will.
I was dying. Let me just say that. I was dying. I kept looking at Mike like, are you seeing this? Do you see what's happening? I
had two things. It first reminded me of me playing Among Us and doing that electric wiring fixing. I was like, oh, that's me. The first time I was like, I can't get it. I feel so old playing this game. And second, it reminded me of Baby Groot and like Guardians of the Galaxy, like when he's like trying, like, no, not that one.
Yeah, like that.
It was so good.
It was.
I actually, now that you mention it, that is very
Baby
Guardians
Groot.
of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
That same like sequence, like when was it Rocket Raccoon is like telling him like, no, push this button, not that one. It was like the same thing. So that's actually cool that you brought that up. I didn't catch that at first.
Yeah. And he had so much patience with the baby. Like it was like surprising that he wasn't getting frustrated. He didn't get frustrated the entire time. He was just like, no, that one. Yeah, the red and blue.
Yeah. And it was actually, I think this is the first time, I know other people have said it before, that you hear Baby Yoda or the child talk, but this is the first time I actually heard him say like, huh? Like it was like, huh?
Yeah.
And I actually rewinded it and the captions actually did say, huh?
Really?
So,
cool.
So he actually said a word.
A sound word? Yeah.
I
don't know if that's an actual word. But
his first word.
Yes, huh?
Huh?
Yeah, so it was really cool. Yeah, the child is his mechanic, and he obviously failed because I don't think he completely I don't think they completely understand each other yet. Like the Mando talks to him, but I think there's still a little bit of like not understanding, kind of like a real child, right?
Yeah.
They kind of get the gist of it and not, but definitely Daddy Mando vibes for sure.
I guess he hasn't learned his colors yet.
yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool, like to see this evolution. But yeah. So he kind of botches the mixing of the wires, and Mando's like, we're gonna have to visit some friends for repairs. Which they had a cool little moment of like sharing spatchka, tea, whatever it was, and it was cool. I just kept noticing that the Mandalorian was like taking off his helmet, but just barely like.
Yeah.
And he kept like
it's okay,
Yeah, like it's a baby, but like also every time he like put it back on, it would like lock, so he would have to like click this button to like re-throw it up.
And one thing I forgot to mention last episode when Bo-Katan removed her helmet, it was the same sound as Darth Vader's removal.
Like
and for me, you guys know I love Vader. It was like, and he did it like kind of a little bit in this one too with Mando taking
it was
off.
like it's vacuum sealed.
Right.
And then it has the
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. And the way he was sitting, like holding the tea, something about it looked like awkward to me. Like, not the positioning, but like him, he was just like, I don't know if it was because he was talking to the baby, and so he was just like, yep, I'm talking to the baby. Like, I don't know. It was like funny. It was very comedic, I thought.
Yeah, he was like facing like the camera. Like he was like
and he just had his legs like really close, and he was like
right, yeah. Well, I think maybe, I mean, I'm just purely speculating at this point, but maybe that had to do something with like the actual puppeteering. Maybe he needed to be in that position so that the puppeteer wouldn't be like in the shot.
Oh, okay.
You know, something like that.
Maybe, yeah.
You know,
makes sense.
But anyway, so moving forward, he says we're gonna have to visit some old friends, and we all know who those old friends are from the season 2 trailer. So they make it to the planet that we probably know the most in this series, which is Navarro.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they
Navarro, brother.
I was just gonna say, can I just say that whenever I hear that name, I think of Navarro's in Miami.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, Navarro is a more Latin influenced pharmacy that's like in South Florida. It's a big chain. So for anyone who lives here, when you hear
Spanish
Navarro,
grocery store,
pretty much. So we go back to Navarro, and a much better landing than the one on Trask, and so then we have the Mando reuniting with Grief Karga and Cara Dune, now Magistrate Karga and Marshal Dune.
I thought that was kind of a neat little thing. But also before that, we see Dune at the beginning of the episode, like titled as the Marshal when she comes to invade that alien species, the Aqualish. I don't know.
Like Pong.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that before we even see them land on the planet, you go back to the Coven where the Armorer and all the other Mandalorians of the same clan of Din used to live, and someone stole, I guess, the big Mandalorian sigil, the Mythosaur sigil.
Maybe they took it with them.
Like I'm like interested, like, oh, who has that now?
I like that the shadow was still there to show that like it had been there for a long time, and then I thought that was like a cool little
leave the mark.
It left the mark.
So then we have the Aqualish gang. Shout out to Ponda Baba. It was the same species in A New Hope. The Aqualish gang basically just plundering, taking everything they can, and are gonna eat this little ferret-looking creature, and lo and behold, we have Marshal Dune saving the town, cleaning up the town, and that was a cool little fight, right? What'd you guys think about that?
I liked it. I liked that she's called the Marshal because it made me feel a little reminiscent to, obviously episode 1 of the season. And so I thought that was kind of neat. And
also tying into the whole Western theme.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was pretty cool. It shows her UFC background and,
Oh, yeah. The actual I was like, throw those jujitsu moves in there.
Yeah, when she like flipped him, I was like, oh, that's a move. I know that one.
Yeah.
And then even the kind of wrestler moves, like putting him on the back and like throwing him back, like throwing that last guy back. It was like very cool to see all this.
Yeah, was she a wrestler really cool. Or was she a UFC?
UFC fighter.
Yeah,
she was a UFC fighter.
She's an MMA fighter, but UFC in itself is MMA, which is a mixture of all these different. So,
Sasha Banks was WWE.
Yeah,
Sasha Banks was wrestler.
So she was wrestler. Okay. Right. I wasn't sure which was which and stuff. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then she saves the little guy, and like he kind of is like her new pet in a weird kind of way. I liked that a lot. I thought he was super cute. I was like, oh, I want one.
And so then, it's the classic saving the creature, and the creature becomes indebted to you, and stuff like that. But what I was liking was that she said that she's returning all the treasures. It seems like she's returning it to the townsfolk or the original people. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's the Mandalorians, or was it, because it seems to me that they've been there for a while, like the Aqualish gang. they've maybe been, that was their hideout that they've been using maybe ever since the Imperials gotten taken down. So it shows that there's a little that there's stuff that's been happening since we've last seen this particular hideout. So Kara Marshall Dune, and then fast forward to Mando finally getting to the planet, and then we have Magistrate Karga, which you can kind of tell from the season trailer, and obviously the press footage and even the toys that we're getting. His outfit looks definitely more regal, definitely more someone of a leadership position, and not just like a head, of a mob or whatever, if you will.
His like smoothness always gives me Lando vibes a little bit,
yes,
but I felt it more.
I
felt it more this time, and like Lando was wasn't he like the leader of Cloud City?
Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
so
he was the Baroness administrator. That's a good point, actually, that you bring up. That he's got that head honcho vibes, but he's like smooth about it.
Right.
Like he knows how to talk to people. Yeah, he's got that swagger.
Carl Weathers, man.
Yeah, man, Carl Weathers, and obviously, for those that don't know, he directed this episode. So
yeah, that was fun.
I'm sure he definitely maybe tilted it a little bit to his way. Maybe got an extra shot of him. Maybe said, "Hey, maybe I should say this instead of that."
Yeah,
he deserves it. He deserves it totally. Like I was happy.
Yeah, an actor of his caliber. I mean, from Rocky series. I mean, and on. I mean, he's done it all. So again, going back to what I said in the last episode, that it's just awesome that we have these like A+ caliber pop culture characters, actors that we've seen everywhere. I just love it. Just adds to the gravitas of the episode and
for sure.
So he gets the tour.
Yeah, I love that Navarro is like, it reminded me of Batu, to be honest. Like it was just so happy, it was like morning, it was colorful, it wasn't exactly what we left. I love that there's a statue in the back of IG-11. Don't fall. An IG-11 statue, which was pretty cool. And kind of
I actually didn't spot that as actually. You just taught me something.
I noticed this morning I might have had my coffee with me, and then I was like, wait a second, and I paused it, and I noticed that. But it was really cool because it was like, okay, you see how Cara Dune, I'm happy for her character, that she did so good for this planet and kind of wanting to bring it up. And there's still some Jawas in there, so you can still see there's some like, not perfect town. But it's cool that then they walk into what the cantina, the bar was, and it's turned into a school. I thought that was hilarious.
I love it.
I actually, this is probably one of my personal favorite parts of this, is because I'm a lore. For those that know, I'm a lore junkie. I love the lore, and particularly, I'm more of a prequel guy. If I would kind of classify myself as anything as a Star Wars fan, it would be prequel. I just love, just like the galaxy and just the politics. And I squealed when I heard Coruscant being mentioned. I was like, oh yes, Coruscant,
Chandra Law.
Yeah. And even when the protocol droid was saying, what are the 5 major hyperspace lanes, and I'm just like, Corellian run, Perlemian run, like I'm just like saying it as these kids are saying it. So to me, that was just like a little like, yes, like, a little lore. Candy.
and seeing it from a protocol droid,
that was cool.
that's his role, or her. It was a woman.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a feminine one, and it kind of looked like a like the rebel like command like maps, like the
it had the blue,
and it sounded like the girl that did from Fleabag. It reminded me of her voice from like the droid, but I don't know if it was. I didn't look at the characters.
I know the series you're talking about, but I'm not too sure what the actors and actress's name or anything.
She was the voice of the droid, and also the what's it called? Like when they mocap. The mocap of the droid in Solo.
Oh,
like
okay.
Mando
You're talking about
confirmed.
L3. Okay, that's
Yes,
Phoebe.
L3. Thank you.
Phoebe Waller.
Phoebe. It
Waller
reminded me of
something.
her voice. I don't
Oh,
know if
okay,
it was.
okay. It reminded you. Oh, for
Um.
a second, I thought you were saying that that was the actual actress. I'm
Oh
like,
no,
oh,
no.
I guess I missed that.
No, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't look at the credits, but I just reminded me. And also, I love that in the background we see a little girl with Ray's
Oh yeah,
hairstyle
I
from
did
when she
spot
was
that too.
little. I was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah,
that's cool.
That is
yeah,
cute. And then also just the way that like that he's carrying the child, that it's just like you could tell it's a puppet, but it's just so cute. And then he just like plops him down into the
Mm,
seat, and he's so much
yeah.
smaller than all the other kids. And they're
Yeah.
just like, don't worry, he'll be safe there. Like, this is a school, like he's with other children. And then
Yeah.
he's the menace.
Yeah, it was nice to see that. I mean, him stealing space macaroons.
They looked like
Blue.
macaroons, right?
That they were
Yeah.
definitely macaroons. I don't care what anyone says. They
Yeah,
were
they were
macaroons.
not cookies, they were macaroons. 110%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the thing is that in the picture in the credits, they were cookies.
They are
In
cookies.
order,
I think
because
they
I
are
love the
cookies, but
art. I love the art in the credits. But in the show, they're blue macarons for sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
I love it.
I
And
love
then
Yeah.
them. They look delicious.
and the kid was he was so nice, and like I loved that he was like, no, those are mine. And then
It
You
was
mean
such
that
a
he was like a
child thing.
you mean that he was like a good actor or something, or what do you mean he was nice?
like he looks so like I loved it that I'm sorry, but it was like not the typical child that you see all the time being put in like different shows. So I loved it. And at
Mhm.
first he was being so shy and kind of like hi, but then he was like, no, those are mine, bro. Get out of
Yeah,
here.
they're my
And like
cookies.
don't.
Leave me alone.
And the child with his humongous appetite, I'm guessing he's going through a growth spurt. Like that's like
I know, yeah.
what? Like
He's
you
always
just need to
hungry.
eat everything.
I
And
relate
he's
though
like,
a lot.
I don't care. Give me the macarons.
To the point where
Um,
he was gonna use the force, but also he left him one. That was sweet.
Did he?
Well,
no, I think
it fell out of the
he.
bag when he was like force
Uh,
grabbing it, but in my brain, I'm like, oh, he left him
Oh,
one.
he left him one, yeah. I kind of liked how he was able to use the force like on command. Like cuz I feel like every
Mhm.
time we've seen him use the force, it was like a reactionary thing, you know what I'm saying?
like in danger,
Like it was in
survival.
danger, so it was nice to see him actually using the force in a proactive manner. Like
Okay.
I like that. Like,
He wanted it and he got it.
yeah, like it to me now that we're talking about it a little more detail, like I hope that that plays into future episodes,
Mhm.
like that he is more like in
Aware.
combat. Like I
Yeah.
mean I it would be hard pressed to see somebody actually try to fight the child. But I with this I just feel like if that does happen, he would be more proactive and like helping. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Just
Yeah.
like
seeing him force pull, I guess.
yeah, he's more aware of his power,
Right.
Yeah.
like or starting
It's
to
more
learn about
control,
his ability. Yeah,
Yeah. Even though it was
totally.
made for it was a comedic moment, but personally to me that's just my takeaway, with it.
Yeah, for
I think this
sure.
episode, though it lacked Baby Yoda a lot because like he wasn't in the central plot, I think there was a lot of like fan service of Baby Yoda. Like this was definitely a good Baby Yoda episode because like the first scene with the wires, now this scene and stuff that
Yeah.
happens later on, like he was so freaking cute in this episode, and I was like, oh, I love him.
Yeah.
Faux show.
And this scene actually kind of taps into what we see in the episode as a whole, where it's really giving us like the landscape of the galaxy and like how the galaxy is right now. It's like, okay, we have these kids that are learning about galactic history or galactic geography, if you will. And then it kind of goes a little bit further a little bit later on with more characters that we see. But I like that. Like, again, I anything that serves to the greater story or the greater landscape, I'm all for it. And I feel like we're kind of needing that. And it's like it's appropriate that it's happening now in the season 2, where it's like, okay, we already have the established characters, we know what the main plot is, but now it's like these little like, okay, here, this is what's happening in the galaxy now, and you know towns are reinventing themselves, and there's a new life. You know, it's like the entire show is like about new life and new beginnings, and it's just nice to see that actually kind of play out.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Cool. So so then we see the character we haven't seen since the first episode of the first season, Mithril.
Mithril.
Which is funny because we mentioned him very, very briefly in the last episode. And I just was like, oh, like, that's funny because he's now in this episode.
Yeah. And even the very first like lines that we see him saying, it's like, this ship doesn't have its transponder IDs, but I'm pretty sure it belongs to, and then cue it. Mando comes in, and it's like, oh yeah, him.
He's scared, like,
and he's
like
terrified.
He's like,
yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I was like, wow, that's a nice little addition.
It's like he still has some of the freeze in him, so it's still coming out.
And, when the dialogue, he mentions like, I cannot see still from my right eye, which brings back to Han Solo when he was frozen, that he was blind for a couple minutes.
Carbonite sickness, I think, is what they call it.
Yeah, so I love that. I love that this show has the eye for detail, and it gives us those little things, and it's not in our face.
Eye for detail.
I mean, and then we get a little backstory on him as well. I mean, apparently he's been working for Grief Karga since he was a pollywag, and he's indebted to him. Yeah. It's kind of like the real world money man's type stuff. Like the accountant always skims a little bit off the top, and seems like now we actually know how he got the bounty placed on him. He stole some money apparently, and he tried to skip town, and
it didn't work.
No, it didn't work, and he ended up right back where he was, which was it's interesting. It was actually more funny than interesting how he's like, he's indebted to me for like 350 years. And I'm like, okay, he may live that long, but Grief, are you gonna live that long? You're a human, bro. 350 years.
I think that was part of it, maybe. Like, you know, like kind of, you know how like people get like 3 life sentences or whatever. Oh yeah. It was like that kind of situation where it's like, man, you're indebted for life. Get over it.
Yeah. Not this life, but 3 lifetimes.
3 lifetimes.
So it's nice little, you know, kind of cool. And so we got a little crew together, and you know, and we get yet another awesome holo. Showing the planet, and like a very, you know, video gamey, how it's
I thought so too.
Map, and showing you, okay, this is the safe zone, and then this is the bad zone, and it's like showing the Imperial, you know, so yeah, and you start connecting dots, and you know, Grief Karga comes up with a plan, and he says, look, this is what we're gonna do, and you know, what is Mando gonna do? Say no? You know, he's kind of indebted to him. He's fixing his ship, and they're old friends and stuff. So yeah, so we get finally what the mission is, which is to blow up this base.
Right. And I kind of like, I like the whole concept that like the Mando keeps doing odd jobs in this season, and he's very willing to do each and every one of them. Like obviously the one with the frog lady, like he got a little bit like, okay, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But compared to last season where he often said no and then got wound up doing it anyway, this season he's like, okay.
He's like,
I'll risk my life. Like he's literally risking his life in every episode.
He's given up to the idea that nothing comes free and easy. And it's like, okay, I said yes to taking this child to the Jedi. Bring it on.
Yeah, and he's also helping people who have helped him. And I think that's
exactly
cool. Or who will help him. Yeah. So and so the little group goes together to
on a land speeder.
On a land speeder. And Mithril is driving, and he's super funny the whole time.
Horatio Sanz, he's a SNL guy. Yeah. You know, so definitely needed. Yeah, I mean, with the child not being in it, you kind of do need somebody to be the butt of the joke and stuff like that. So poor him, actually. He kept getting bossed around, and
seriously,
like, you want 30 more years.
He did deserve it, but it was so like he took it like a champ, even though he was like relief. I kind of thought he was gonna like betray them at some point or something, and he didn't, and I'm like, good on him, good job.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe he would have betrayed Grief, but since the Mando was there, he's like, oh crap, like this
Yeah.
guy's
Yeah.
there.
He's scared.
I can't get away from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
No, for sure. But
so
then
they
you
make
see
it to the
this.
base, and actually, I wanted to point something out that apparently this planet has lava. A lot of
Yeah.
people, myself included, theorized that this would have been Sullust, because Sullust, which is Nine Nubs' home planet from the Return of the Jedi, their planet looks pretty much just like that. It's a lot of dark gray, rocks, and then you have the lava streams. So just like how last or a couple episodes ago, I thought it was Ilum.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not Ilum. This is not Sullust to me.
Mm.
But yeah, Navarro, and yeah.
But
So
again, we missed it because we see lava in Navarro season 1 when ID11. It's
right.
it's like we sometimes
Right.
we overthink it, and it's like right there. The same with like Sasha Banks and obviously knowing
sure.
Bo-Katan, and it's like makes sense, and it's like, hey guys, we forgot Navarro
Yeah.
had lava.
I'm definitely guilty, super guilty of all that.
I think all of us, because we want to know new planets. It's weird to go back to the same
Right.
planet.
Right.
So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
where are we gonna go next? And it's like,
Right.
no, and here it's kind of like an effect of coming back and going forward, and yeah.
Yeah, it's like a very seesaw this season, where it's like it's combining everything from last season into this season, but also introducing a whole bunch of new concepts too.
Right.
Mhm.
Which so we get them, infiltrating this base, and I think Mando right away says, "Oh, skeleton crew, right?" And like there's only supposed to be a skeleton crew, and it's like a full base with full battalion or whatever of stormtroopers, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of satisfying to see that stormtrooper just like fall.
I feel like it was also, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like it was the same sound effect from the old movies, the scream.
The Wilhelm scream.
Because it was so familiar, and then later in the episode, they say a line that they said in the original movies too.
With the elevator guys.
Yes, what was the line? I'm blanking now.
I forgot. I should have written it down. It was something about getting days off or something. That it also brought up like, it reminded me of the. They're getting a day off or something like that.
I lost you guys for a second, but I'm back.
Yeah.
So they infiltrate the base, right? And they're kind of sneaking around, and so they get to what I think is probably the best part of this episode, actually, to me.
Yes.
Which is, I may be missing some stuff a little bit, but they get to apparently it's a cloning facility.
Yes. Oh my God. So this brings so many questions into like the theories. For me, I thought of our theory that Baby Yoda was a clone of Yoda, but then I also thought, is this the beginnings of Snoke?
Yes. So
Bingo.
This was a perfect, how the last episode was a perfect bridge from like Mandalorian to Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
This was an episode that was a perfect bridge to Mandalorian and the new sequel. And I mean, episode 9, 10, 11, or 8, 9, 10. Eso.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9.
Eso.
Yeah,
So many. I'm like thinking chapter 10, 9, 8. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this is the very same thing you said, Julie, that it even kind of looked like Snoke. I mean,
did.
If we're really being honest,
like
it did look like a
skinny,
tall,
like weird
skinny
looking.
with like a big head and like
face.
deformed, So right away, it's like, yeah, this is so finally Mandalorian is connecting to the sequel trilogy, the First Order, and all that, and it's like, okay, so this is the Emperor's beginnings of his plans to create a clone or whatever.
Yeah.
Because Snoke was intended to be a clone of him. But that gets a little convoluted. But anyways, this is the beginning of that. So it's really cool to finally see, okay, the connective tissue, and then we get the Dr. Pershing Hollow, basically kind of summarizing everything that's gone on. How they needed the child to get his blood because it contained a large M count.
I
Midichlorian count. Prequels, baby.
I thought it was so funny that they just didn't say the word midichlorian.
Yeah.
I was like,
like
okay.
not piss off.
Yeah, it was like, okay, nice little bridge there. You didn't say the actual word, but we all know what it means.
Right. No, but even people that have seen the prequels, like the way they said it, it's like maybe it's not like, you know, I had to actually have the caps on to see exactly what he was saying. And yeah, M count midichlorians. So now we know that the child has a very high midichlorian count, because before this you could have just said, okay, he was just a Force user. So now this lends credence to that Yoda species, maybe all of them have a high, maybe they're just a species that's just naturally
close to the
this now lends actual credence, and now is actual evidence of them actually being a super powerful Force species.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
like Lothwolves and other creatures that have like the Force and their first users, like Bendu, and maybe his creature has it high count of midichlorians.
Yeah. So this just opens up way more questions than I mean it solves. So it's like, yeah, so the Emperor wanted maybe this particular child because that he's really probably was the key to everything.
Yeah. And then it shows us like, oh, this was recent because the holocron was like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
That's when Mando was like, oh snap, baby's in danger.
Yeah, baby's in danger. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, I gotta run, pick up my kid.
Like bad idea. Like, oh, it's like a I left the stove on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I gotta go back.
Yeah, I like the dialogue between that scene too, where he was just kind of like, oh, this has to be like old though, right? Because, you know, he's been dead. And it's like, no, this is, and it's like you could see the oh shit face through the helmet.
Yeah,
no, this connects actually even the prequel trilogy as well, because
the clones.
Cloning.
I thought of them too, that like maybe they're trying to make a new clone a new clone army. There we go. Yeah. I was like army there.
But it's also crazy.
Which connects to something later on.
Oh yes. But it's also crazy because he said they were volunteers.
Yeah.
So then you see kind of like the relation of like the First Order troopers, because those were volunteers. They were not clones like Finn, or some they were taken, but most of them also were volunteers. So you're like, how crazy are you to be like, yeah, let's just throw experiments at me and I'll become the Snoke.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just so crazy. Like, it's like, yeah, it's answered questions, but now I just like want to know more. It's like we know now the beginning, we kind of know a little bit of the middle, and we know definitely the end. But it's just like I still want more. I still want to know more. Like, it's so good. This is so good.
Yeah. And then the whole scenes after, it's kind of like an epic chase and epic like fighting scenes and so much goodness.
I got Death Star vibes when they were like lowering down the shields. It was like literally like Ben Kenobi like going onto the, you know, and then powering it down complete with no guardrail. Like I just love all the callbacks here.
I was actually gonna say the exact same thing, but for like Luke and Leia's run, and then Han and Chewie's run throughout the aisles of the Death Star. When Mando was running to try to like get out, I was instantly, I was like, oh my god, these scenes look exactly like that. And there was a scene where he was like on this like one stop, and there was like a trench between them, and then a stormtrooper was shooting, and he had to like swing over exactly like Luke and Leia in A New Hope.
For sure.
I loved it.
Yeah, and so he jetpacks out of there while the rest of the crew try to escape on the trawler, the sand crawler.
I forgot the name.
Yeah, I did too. It's like a giant bumper car.
giant bus transport thing that we saw in
Yeah.
Rebels too.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually see it in the trailer as well. And then yeah, so then they're like, hey, they sound their alarms, and these guys get out. And then we see the speeder troopers, speeder like scout troopers,
Mm-hmm.
The
and
scout troopers.
how they went off the cargo shuttle bay and then just like going balls to the wall,
Yeah.
chasing after it. And yeah, fun.
And like
fun
3 of
chase
them
scene.
dying in the very like first second because
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Very rusty drivers.
Mhm.
Yeah, like they just don't care about their lives. They just don't care.
Yeah.
Long live the Empire for real, man.
Long live the Empire.
And then we got to see the beautiful TIE fighters with the
Yeah, the wings, how they were like, yeah, there was definitely something for everybody. It was, if you're an Empire guy, there was some Empire porn in there, you know?
Yes,
You
the
know?
TIE pilots, even like how they look
Yeah.
in there, it was
Mhm.
beautiful. I loved them.
And then like doing that little like, that same
Mhm.
little, before they line up a shot, it's like
yeah.
OT vibes all over.
Yeah, and it was such a cool chase. Like
Mhm.
then you're like the suspense is right there and kind of
Like, how is this little truck gonna take on 3 TIE fighters? Like, they got 1, but then there's like the 2 more after they lose their gun, and it's like,
Mhm.
what's gonna happen? And
Yeah.
then
yeah.
Which actually also gave me a New Hope vibes with Luke and Han. I was kind of expecting Kara to be like, hey, there's still 2 more, or don't get cocky or something like that. Like I was totally expecting that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it also reminded me of Rebels because when Ezra and Sabine are trying to get Sabine's dad back, I think it's almost around. It looks like the same ship,
Yeah.
and they go up into, and I was like, oh, this is like everything mashed together.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So the
And
base
then-
explodes and they go away and chase goes on and then and then we finally get the Razor Crest and all
Back in
its,
action, finally.
glory.
Brand new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all in all its glory.
Totally
for
made
sure.
again.
Yeah.
How?
And,
I want them as my mechanic. Like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
so
for real,
quick
right?
and shiny and everything. I'm like, how did you guys fix my car? Took like 3 months just to fix one thing.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
And then it's cool to
Um,
see like him flying and knowing what he's doing as he's flying again.
Yeah, and Baby Yoda going like,
Yeah, that was awesome.
I
That was
love
so
that.
cool.
still with the macaron.
Whee!
Yeah. And then the little
Yeah.
and it was so cute that Mando was like, oh no. And then he just has to like clean it like while driving. Like
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
to that Alexis.
Daddy Mando
kind of-
vibes for sure.
Falling all the
time.
time.
Yeah.
It was
But,
scene
yeah.
was great. And it was
So
just so blue.
Yeah.
So they shoot down the rest of the TIE fighters and then kind of happy ending, right? Grief is like, hey, let me buy you a drink, and Mando's like, no, I got somewhere to be.
Mhm.
I finally know, because he actually says in one of the episodes like, hey, I finally know where I'm taking you.
Yeah, I think he says at the beginning of this one or at the end of last one. I don't remember.
Yeah,
But-
he says something like that. But so it makes sense that he's wanting to, he got the baby, which he did all that super fast, by the way.
He did. He
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yes.
care what jetpack you have, but like, to get over there, get the kid, get the ship, fly back, shoot the,
Mhm.
so it's just kind of,
did. Everything was
kinda
so
cool.
fast. Yeah.
yeah, suspension of disbelief. I know, but it's just kind of funny to make fun of it.
hmm
And then we get the little kind of dun 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 at the end where one of the mechanics, one of Magistrate's Karga's people was a double crosser,
hmm
dirty double crosser,
And
put
he
a
was the
tracker.
same
Yeah.
species as the killer of Rey's parents.
I got that too. He kind of reminded me of that as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, he kind of did actually. It's funny because the same knee-jerk reaction I had to that Obo or the Jedi killer, Augie or whatever his name was
Mhm.
the same reaction I got to him, which was like, is that like a Maz Kanata? Is that like,
Yeah.
So, and then right away I was like, oh yeah, it's the same one.
I also was like, ooh, when I saw him, when he like his look lingered on Mando for a
Mhm.
second, I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, he's
They
gonna.
definitely
be bad.
foreshadowed it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's cool because then we finally saw freaking Moff Gideon, like him. I mean, it was like the hologram, but it was him.
Right. We finally get to see him live action. Yeah. In this season.
In this season, exactly.
Yeah, and before that, we find out that they have like a tracking beacon on the Racer Crest, which is also crazy. And that Empire lady was looking awesome. Then we have Moff Gideon with
all of this
dark troopers. Like
that's what I got. I definitely got dark trooper vibes for sure.
Yeah, I thought the Death Troopers a little bit, but they looked more like, I don't know, they didn't look like Death Troopers, but the armor was similar, so I was like, oh, what's this gonna be? And then I'm also thinking, like, are all of these troopers gonna be clones? Is that why they showed the clones before? Like, what's going on here?
So it actually looks like those were actually dark troopers.
Dark troopers?
Yeah, they were dark troopers. Like,
so for
sure.
those that you don't know, the Dark Troopers came out in a video game.
Which is funny.
A long time ago.
Because wasn't I talking about that in our theories episode, that I wanted different kinds of troopers because of the video game that I played?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and according to the Holocron database, they were in Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds and Star Wars Empire of War.
They were like old school.
Yeah, and I think they were also in the Kyle Katarn video
game. Which are the games that I played.
Yeah, that's the one I remember.
I think that one's called
Jedi Outcast.
Yeah.
They have 3, and the main Kyle Katarn one is Jedi Outcast, and then there's Jedi Knight Academy.
Dark Forces. Dark Forces is the one I'm thinking about. Dark Forces is where I believe was the very first video game that these troopers appear in. So making them canon pretty much.
Yeah. And those were the exact games that I wanted troopers based from. And here we go.
Just fulfilling all the fan servicey stuff. And so for those that don't know, dark troopers are pretty much like cyborg type troopers. I'm not sure if they're completely droids. But they have some mechanical aspects to them. This looks like they're just all like, this iteration looks like they're just droids. So it looks like it sets up a pretty awesome next episode. So not only do we have the good guys that we were wanting to see, but it looks like the bad guys are going to come to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Theory though, really quick. What if they are cyborgs and those really like messed up looking clones are the human aspect of the cyborgs, so that they had to modify them to be a little bit droidy because they weren't perfect clones. So it's going to be kind of like a Bad Batch thing, because Bad Batch also had some cybernetic droid stuff going on a little bit with them.
I think I could see that. For me, it's 2 different things. For me, Moff Gideon has his dark troopers, and that's what he's going to use to kind of find the child and if he notices Ahsoka and he knows of Ahsoka as another Force sensitive person. And then the other stuff is Snoke related things.
Okay.
I don't know. That's how
I like that idea too.
Yeah, that's what I was going. I like your theory, Julie, but I'm leaning more to that. So that base was strictly just to produce
for the
clones
Snoke stuff.
for the Snoke Emperor.
Which makes sense. I feel like it's very early for that, like timeline wise, but I feel like that makes the most sense.
Yeah,
because it's also different. Like I saw the things, and this one I saw it, I think, in somebody's post that it was like more industrial engineering something. The other one was more medical. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but yeah. Right. It's very interesting. It's gonna be such an amazing episode next time. So
because now this opens up the possibility of Gideon actually seeing Ahsoka, or maybe them fighting.
Yeah.
Giancarlo Esposito, he stated in like interviews that that he's broken Darksabers like prototypes, like that, I guess the stunt sabers.
Yeah.
So you think
he's gone through a whole bunch. So he's definitely gonna fight. Now Is he gonna fight Ahsoka? Is he gonna fight Bo? Is he gonna fight Sabine? Is he gonna fight all three? Is he gonna fight all four
Oh
with
my god,
Mando?
the
Like,
girl power fight.
dude, like this is.
I'm not ready, emotionally ready for next episode.
I'm not emotionally ready to see Ahsoka in live action.
I think I'm gonna die a little bit.
I think so
Same.
too. And what Anna was saying before we recorded is that it's most likely going to be next episode that we see Ahsoka because Filoni is going to be the director.
Yes.
Which is, it was kind of cool because at the very end of this episode, it's kind of like a little hint, like they showed the 2 X-Wings on Navarro, and it's Filoni's nowhere in sight. So it's like, oh, he's off writing. he's doing his thing.
He's not telling Ahsoka like, "Yo, they're coming." But that was also something cool. Because
I kind of forgot about that part where we kind of see Navarro again, and then we see the X-Wings. 2 things: the actor, I think I mentioned it before off screen, but that he is from a show called Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool because I was a fan of that show, and he's apparently a really big Star Wars nerd.
Yeah, that's how I know him.
So it's
because
really
I follow him on Instagram, and he cosplays all the time cool things. I didn't even know he was an actor. And then through his Instagram, I saw that he was an actor, and I was just like, this is the person that should be.
Yeah.
And an Asian person, like, representation matters. So that's,
Hell yeah. I thought that was really cool.
And then the second thing I liked is his little interaction with Kara, Marshall Kara, and how, the whole Alderaan line, of course.
I lost him for a second.
no, I still, and my things are running out of battery. I need to switch to my computer.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, it's just different quality.
I know.
I will wrap it up now, but Alexis is frozen.
Frozen. Am I still frozen?
You're coming back, but like slowly. Like you're really glitchy. So maybe just don't move too much.
But anyways, yeah, awesome ending. I guess we now have Galactic Marshals. Is that like a title now? Like,
I guess. Does anybody know what the medal that he gave her meant?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I think it's like a marshal, like.
I can't hear you.
Thing.
Either of us?
I can't hear Alexis.
Alexis's volume lowered a little bit for me.
I think you gotta get closer to your mic, Alexis.
All right. Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
You cannot hear me? You can't hear me?
Can you hear me, Anna?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I hear both of you fine.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, the last thing I just wanted to say was that I
Mhm.
just as a fan and like a lightsider, I kind of liked how it's like now you have like a something to associate with like like some type of marshal or some type of lawbringer,
Mhm.
Again, going back to this, I love how they keep this Western theme going. And yeah, it was like cool. It was like a nice little, like opening, I guess, a little bit of a cliffhanger. Like, oh, is Kara gonna maybe join the New Republic?
I thought about that too.
Is she gonna maybe join the Force again? And so it's kind of like a little like teaser, I guess, if you will, for that. So, but yeah, that was episode was awesome. I loved it.
It was
I do have one question. Have we seen every scene from the trailer already in the show? Because I feel like we have, and I'm kind of excited about that.
I think so.
I am not sure because I don't rewatch trailers. So
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. I think so, Julie, because we saw with the trailer, we saw the ice planet, we saw Tatooine, we saw the the ice planet, which whatever that was. I don't think I got a name on that one. We saw Trask, we saw
Navarro,
and then that other planet that they visited at the beginning with the Gamorrean,
the not Lothal.
Yeah, not Lothal. We saw not Ilum, not Sullust. And Tatooine.
And Tatooine.
there you go.
Okay, so yeah, I'm super excited for next week's episode.
Yes.
I'm shaking in the anticipation. I can't wait. But yeah,
This is where it's gonna kick up into high gear, ladies and gentlemen.
I hope so. Watch us all be like fooled, and Dave Filoni's episode is just gonna be like a little like, haha, just kidding.
Oh, better not.
I know.
Don't even.
I know.
Better not.
No. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we could wrap up with what do you guys want to see?
Ahsoka and Sabine. That's my answer. Final answer. There you go.
Ahsoka and Sabine. What about you, Anna?
Ahsoka.
Just Ahsoka.
I want to see. To be honest, I want to see Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra. And
I'm okay with no Ezra yet. If the scene if we get Ezra later, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
or like mention of Ezra. I don't know.
I just really want to see my girl, man.
Just a girl.
Ahsoka it's my favorite, so I'm just gonna go crazy.
What I want to see is definitely a lightsaber duel, which it sounds like we're gonna get.
Oh yes.
I don't know if we'll get it next episode though. That might be in 2 or 3. Like I feel like that might come later.
That's like a season
or like a season finale thing. Yeah.
A part 1, part 2.
But yeah. So I think I want to see Ahsoka fight Gideon, even though the other two, like Sabine and Bo, have a stronger claim. Because it's more of like a internal affair. Mando, But I would like to see Ahsoka fight Gideon. That's probably my one thing, apart from maybe Yoda saving Mandalorian or something. I kind of foresee actually something like that also happening, like Mandalorian in like a near death, like something where like if the child doesn't intervene, Mando will die. So for the Mando and the child, I kind of want to see something like that. And then for Ahsoka, I want to see her fight Moff Gideon, like lightsabers blazing. Like that's what I'm wanting.
It's gonna be so good, and that day definitely stay off social media if you don't want to spoiled and ruined. But yeah, we covered it all. We covered our wants, and yeah, where can we find you guys?
I'm at Infinity Jewels on Instagram, at Infinity Jewels _ on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook at Infinity Jewels and twitch.tv/Infinity Jewels.
You might want to mention that it's not spelled like a regular jewel. It's
Jules. Yeah.
You guys can find me at Lex287 on Twitter, Lex_Adamus ADAMES on Instagram, and you can search my name Alexis Adamus on Facebook as well. Connect with me on any one of those platforms, and let's talk some Star Wars.
Yeah, and you guys can find me at Legiki Life with 2 eyes on Instagram and Facebook, and follow Roundtable Podracers on YouTube, like the video, subscribe, and Facebook, so we can talk more Star Wars and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, we can answer them on the episode. So
yeah,
definitely do that.
As always, guys, may the force be with you.
Until next time.
This is the way.